Two is fine.
It's there. I thought it was a step down in certain spots, a step up in other spots compared to the first one. Those two films, fine. That's a good franchise. Yeah. This movie, the third one.
This is, honestly, Timmy said it while we were watching the movie. I said it coming out of the movie. It is definitively the worst movie I've ever seen. And that is saying something. My favorite movie of all time is The Love Guru. I know that's bad. But this Equalizer 3 is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Worse than Doolittle.
We walked out of Doolittle.
Yeah.
If we weren't watching it for the podcast, Timmy and I were going to walk out of that movie yesterday.
I did not think it was that bad. It was bad, Brendan, but it wasn't walk out bad.
Brendan, it was bad. They were in Sicily. They didn't tell you why. They didn't show you why. Every couple seconds, there was another new character who would sit down in a meeting with another new character to exposition dump about the two characters that weren't there 2 minutes ago.
Most of the movie was in Italian.
Yes.
With no warning.
With no subtitles. Half the time it had subtitles, half the time it didn't. Denzel Washington, a phenomenal actor. In the first two Equalizer movies, as a action badass, amazing. In the third one, homie is either not having a good time or he's getting up there in age. I know nothing about him. I don't watch any of his more recent outings.
What recent outings? This is it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
But also, he just played the old guy. Homie just
seems like, if that's the character, then cool. I didn't feel that way. I felt like Denzel Washington didn't want to fucking be there. Kind of like Bruce Willis does in all of his straight-to-DVD things. But the action? First of all, there was not enough action. There was nothing fucking happening. There was no action going on. It would be like 30 seconds of like, oh man, this kid's up against the wall and I'm holding this thumb. Or man, this glass is in your eyeball. And then it would be 40 minutes of talking in Italian.
The opening scene where it pans... Yeah, there you go. The opening scene where it pans in on him after you see the house of 40 murdered men.
Yeah.
Brutally murdered.
Yep.
And he's just sitting there with his fucking napkin cleaning things off. Incredible. Why didn't I get to see that?
No,
Why did you start
the
after
whole
the
opening
cool shit
was
happened?
perfect. Because it established who he was. I would have liked if when he was doing an exposition dump to the bad guy, he would have said like, I'm here for this. So then I could have been like, oh, he's doing this in Italy. Instead of me going, oh, it's the last 3 minutes of the movie, and now you explain. Thank you for that. Bad movie. But then he killed the fuck out of them. He looked at me, he was like, your buddy over here with the gun, I feel sorry for him. He's going to get shot by this buddy. I'm going to make him do it.
And he's sitting there looking old and decrepit, and he just pops up, and I'm like, holy shit.
I know.
Like, what are you... You can still move like that? I can't move like that. I'm 25.
Up, he grabs the hand, he shoots them, he shoots them, and then he kills him, and then he takes a shotgun, and he puts it towards the guy's butt. And you go, he's not going to shoot a man in the ass with a shotgun. Mm-hmm. And then he does.
There is one thing that I will say that I don't think we haven't brought up yet, which is pretty impressive considering why did that donut have a cheese stretch? He does most of his stunts in these movies.
I'd believe it.
And but that's also the other difference between him and John Wick, which we talked about off the podcast. John Wick beats you to death like Batman.
Yeah.
He murders you in the first blow in these movies and then just keeps murdering you. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason for it besides the fact that he enjoys it.
Yes.
Like, he's just like, I'm going... Like, the one... He literally walked up behind a dude in dead silence and shoved I'm going to call it a knife because I don't know what it was.
Corkscrew?
Through the back of his head and through the front of his throat, paralyzing this man, and then he murdered him. That's not what heroes do. That's what people who enjoy murdering people do. And he just moved on from that and murdered 9 more people.
He was like,
progressively more and more violent.
Yes.
And then poisoned a man and went, you got 6... Spoiler alert.
Was that the first one?
No, that was the third one. We just watched it. Yesterday.
No, I remember him. He
poisoned him. He's like, you have 6 minutes before that kills you, and then watches him crawl to his death, and then kicks him into a box of oranges. Peppers.
I thought you were talking about in the first one when he shoots a guy in the neck. He's like, "You're gonna go into cardiac arrest in a second, and then you're gonna suffocate."
He enjoys that shit. He's like, not only are you gonna die, I'm gonna watch the light leave your fucking eyes.
When the camera pans away, it pans away because Denzel Washington is just. Yeah. I think this is how you know this isn't a franchise. This is a trilogy that didn't need to be. So I'm not going to call it a franchise.
It's not even. It's 2 movies, and then there's 2 options. There's 2 options that happen.
And then a spinoff.
Either someone wrote a movie about Italy, about
then they
family and
threw him in.
everything, and they were no one's gonna watch this. Hey, Denzel Washington's looking for a third Equalizer film. We can throw him in this, and
I feel like it was
that
contract.
happened. Or Denzel Washington really wanted an excuse to go to Italy and then just film the film there.
I feel like it was a contract thing.
Okay.
I feel like it was. They're like, listen, the second one did pretty good. We have you contracted in. We know COVID hit, and that's why we didn't make a third one. We have to do this. And then he went,
okay, but I'm gonna be old about it.
I'm gonna be really old.
I'm gonna be really
They're like,
old.
all right, we have like 4 or 5 action scenes. He's like, you get 3.
You get 3.
The contract
and
doesn't say how many.
I'm gonna walk around with a limp for half this movie and walk up steps like an old man and get yelled at by old ladies.
That's right. I feel really bad saying this of this trilogy movie series. The best scene, the best fight scene, was in the first one when the Russian dude came in and he was with David Harbour and they went to go talk to the Irish guy and he's talking about all the stuff on the wall. He's like, "Look, this is we know that you take the money and whatever, little Johnny." And then he freaks out and then this man proceeds to like kick him over. David Harbour then spins and like kills 2 people. And this dude is just going to fucking town, punching this Irish guy in the face into the ground. He's like, "Little Johnny's a little bitch." That to me is the best scene in all of it.
But that's what it is. He didn't kill that guy.
Yes.
He just beat him to a pulp. Like I said before, he's murdering people outright every time. And I love how the government 100% knows it's him. And they're like, "But you're okay, man. But don't be murdering people no more." A week later. So I murdered like 30 more people.
Don't be murdering our people.
You
murdered a couple of our people? Go to Italy.
Hey, here's this subplot about them funding terrorists and blowing up airports. Is it going to happen again? No. The third film with the terrorists blowing up the airport, and they show it for 5. You already forgot it. That's why they were buying and selling the drugs to fund the terrorists and everything. And then they were just like, "Oh, it blew up the airport." And then they're just like, "Okay."
There's a whole drug subplot in that movie.
It's like the mafia, but the cartel mixed into one, and it's like they're funding terrorists, and it's just
There's the entire plot could go over your head without you noticing when it talks about the drugs because they just like
they're like, "It's here,
like,
but
oh
now
my
it's
God,
there." But then we
look at the
bring it
drugs.
back to the front here, and then it's all coming together as a story, and then we're going to shove it this way, and then
somebody
it's gonna do a backflip.
definitely was sitting there going, "Look, man, this is gonna be super fucking artsy. Okay, we're gonna reveal the plot in the last few minutes, so that way you have to go back and watch it, and now you understand." Fuck that.
Some of it was filmed as just a generic action film, and then there was this one scene where Dakota Fanning was in a prison talking to a prisoner, and it was just black behind her, and it was just light on her face, and I'm like, "What the fuck is happening? Why is this
on
so-
Zoom?
What?
Is this a Zoom call? I'm very confused.
Yeah, I'm like, why is this so intense all of a sudden?
Trash movie. Okay, we're in agreement.
Yeah, bad.
It's not a good. It's not all right. I guess it's a bad movie.
First 2 were all right, I guess. The third one was bad,
Agreed.
and then as a whole, it's bad because of that.
Yes. I can go my entire life and never watching any of these movies.
I was planning on it, but then we decided to review them.
and I had to.
Okay.